Barrino claimed the crown on the third season of American Idol. But what her fans would be just shocked to know is how tough it really was for her to get there. In her new Lifetime TV movie, The Fantasia Barrino Story, Fantasia sets the record straight about an Idol controversy, being a single mom, and rumors of her not being able to read. Fantasia Barrino, it is a pleasure to welcome you to Show Niz tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You play yourself in this movie.
I do.
What becomes very clear to anybody watching it who may not know your story is you didn't have it easy. You became a mom at a very young age. You had trouble in school. You were raped by a classmate. What was it like for you reliving this while you were making this movie?
It was tough. You know, it was tough. I went through a lot of different emotions because it's not easy going back and playing those parts over. You don't want to go back and relive that. You can't just act that out. So when they came to me about the movie, I said, well, who's going to play me? They said, well, you're going to play yourself. And, you know, I sat down with Miss Debbie Allen for a while, she's an awesome woman, by the way. And, you know, it made it a lot easier for me on the set by having a lot of people, you know, on the set that were very supportive, down to Debbie, Loretta, Kadeem, Viola, and everybody that was on the set, everybody in New Orleans, everybody was so loving and supportive. It made it a little easier.
They knew they were taking a tough situation, but they were helping you out along the way.
Yes.
One of the things that you deal with in the film deals with one of the controversies that's just been swirling around. There were all these rumors flying around saying that American Idol producers were basically pressuring you to perhaps drop out of the competition because you were not a good role model and because of emails and letters that they were getting. In the film, it's portrayed that they came to you and said, this is what's going on. If you would like, you can drop out. Would you set the record straight on what actually was the case?
Because I think it got taken and blown out of proportion.
Sure.
In the movie, I say that they do come to me and they allow me to know what's being said. And, you know, the people at the time made me feel like, okay, well, she can't be an idol. She should just quit. I could have quit. I could have said, well, forget it. They're not going to give me the opportunity. If they're saying this and they're saying that, I might as well pick up and go home.
Right.
So in the movie, it's kind of exaggerated where it's like, well, what do you want to do? And it shows the people that are watching, well, I'm not going to give up regardless of what they say, that, you know, yes, I have a child at a young age and I did make some mistakes in my past that, you know, some people might say, how could she be an idol? How could she be this? How could she be that? So it's basically showing the viewers that are watching, I didn't give up regardless of what they said. I kept it moving. So I think that they took it and they kind of blown it out.
And nobody was saying, you know what, this isn't really good, get out.
No,
all right.
they came to me and allowed me, you know, they told me what was going on, what was being said, but the producers took a liking to me from the beginning.
Okay.
They believed in me, so it wasn't like I was saying they were telling me to quit. I think they just blew it out.
And on the notion, and we heard a lot about this when the story came out, of you being functionally illiterate, which is hard to imagine because you had to learn all those songs for American Idol and you became the champ.
I think, you know, when you give a piece of your life story and you give just a little piece of something, people take it and they exaggerate and they make it what they want it to be. You know, when I say I dropped out of school, I dropped out in the 9th grade. And there were some things that I were weak on. There were some things that I forgot, you know, and I wasn't a strong reader. Let me say that. And because I knew I wasn't a strong reader, I always ran from it. I always talk about, I have an older cousin who, she's amazing at reading, but when we were young, we would be outside playing and she would be somewhere reading. We'd be like, what are you doing?
Right.
You know, why are you reading? Let's play. But that goes to show that I want young people to know that if you're in there, take it seriously and go after it. You know, if you have problems in school, if there's things you're lacking, go to your teachers
and get the help you need. It's an inspirational story, and congratulations on the success, and we look forward to great things from you. Fantasia Barrino, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. You can catch the Fantasia Barrino story, Life is Not a Fairy Tale, on Lifetime. It's August 19th. Show Niz tonight, coming right back.